What's up, everyone? I'm Rain, and this is Tarot for the Skeptical Mystic. And today we're gonna think about and do a reading about relationships and transformation. It's spring, and there's a lot of sort of change and transition, right? Like lots of stuff that's kind of up in the air. This is sort of the season where people strike out into the world again, right? Like sort of coming out of winter and armed with like ideas and inspiration. But it can also lead to a lot of sort of change in relationships, right? The way that people sort of like interact with one another as their priorities are starting to shift into sort of new places. I was watching a streamer that I watch a lot, and they were talking about like a friend of theirs who had kind of like soured on them. And I've been watching this streamer for years, and the two have been like friends for a very, very long time. Like they used to live together and stuff. But the nature of this relationship is changing, and it's really interesting how something can seem very like sort of solid and entrenched. Like these people are associated with each other, and then one day, just not, right? Things sort of change. And I kind of wanted to like not just think about that interaction, because that's really like parasocial and stuff, but it got me thinking about how those relationships change and develop, and how this is sort of the time where that happens. So I want to think about like that relationship that maybe you're having, that's undergoing change, out there in the world, and how we might sort of learn how to navigate tricky situations like that, or kind of bittersweet sometimes situations. Lots of adjectives that can go into that sort of change. So let's talk about sort of the shifting nature of relationships, and the sort of change that everybody's feeling, the charge that everyone's feeling, where a lot of stuff is going to get sort of rearranged very, very quickly, very, very soon. So without any further ado, let's give the old dice a roll. And that's going to be a number 4. That's going to be our Tildwick Tarot. This is going to be our Tildwick Tarot deck, number 4 here. So we're gonna pull these two, actually, that decided to come out. I'm opening my mind. Ooh, there's 3. There's a hidden third one. I'm opening my mind to sort of like a little bit of. Let's throw some variety in there. 4 cards just isn't always enough. So we have the Lovers, Queen of Swords, and 2 of Swords. So this is going to sort of represent the past of our relationship, the history of that relationship. So give me a second to read up on these cards, because I don't super duper know them, and we'll take a look at what the sort of past of this relationship looks like, and how it can give us insight to where it might be going. Okay, so this is really interesting. I think sort of looking at the sort of past of this relationship, right? We've got this sort of love-hate thing that often comes when people are very, very close, right? Familiarity breeds contempt. And that's sort of the Lovers in a nutshell, to a certain extent, right? Like you've got this relationship that maybe has been up and down, contentious, back and forth. And there comes a point where somebody's ready to sort of move on from it. Right. They've been sort of like in this cage, and they've sort of elevated themselves to the point where they're ready to sort of break free. They're ready to make the decision to sort of fly the coop, based on sort of like the ebb and flow. Right. Maybe the ebb has been just a bit too much, and the flow just really hasn't kind of been there. Life is taking everyone in sort of different directions, and so now here we have somebody who is self-assured, who is like ready to make the move, and they're not going to fuck around with it, right? So it seems like maybe this transformation has been coming for some time, right? Somebody was starting to feel hindered, caged, imposed upon in a way that wasn't fair, or was limiting themselves based on sort of expectations, or an inability to sort of make a decision to break out of that cage. But now they're stepping sort of into their power, right? They're saying, this isn't good for me anymore. Maybe it never was. They could be saying like, no, this used to be great for me, but like it's changed and I've changed, and I don't want to live with this ebb and flow anymore. I don't want to feel caged or imprisoned by this relationship. And so I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something different. And I'm going to do that with self-assuredness, straightforwardness, just a sort of blunt, like, this is over, right? I'm walking away from this relationship. It could be a romantic relationship, but I don't like to dwell on romantic relationships because there are a lot more relationships that we have in our lives typically than romantic ones. Romantic ones are very big and important when they are in our lives, but they're not typically like, they should not be life defining, right? We have lots of different relationships with lots of different people. I think a lot of the most impactful ones tend to be close friends, family members, things like that. This could be, a cousin that you grew up with that you've always been really close to, but now your lives are moving in different directions, or, a friend that you have who, again, their life is moving in a different direction. Your life is moving in a different direction. Relationships change. I am a sober person. And when I got sober, a lot of my relationships changed because people who were just kind of drinking buddies now were nothing, right? Stuff changed in my life to make that relationship kind of like not necessary anymore. And when it was, this is what this reminds me of, is I have these close friends, people that I've spent years around, but now the circumstances changed and I'm ready to change it. I'm ready to break out of that circumstance. I feel confident and assured in that decision. There's no changing it, right? Like, I decided I was going to get sober, and 10 years later, I still am. Like, that was a strong-willed sort of like decision that I made. That was a Queen of Swords decision that I made, right? And so that's the kind of decision that we're talking about, where it's set in stone, it's confident, it's intentional, and it is to sort of change the circumstance, to unrestrict ourselves, to break out of the Two of Swords birdcage here, and really allow ourselves to soar. So if this is you, right, you might be saying like, I don't want or need this relationship anymore. I'm ready to break out of it. I don't want to have this will they or won't they back and forth, lovers quarrels all the time. Like, I want to set the record straight. And so in the past, leading up to this moment, right, that's sort of what we're looking at here, is this sense of intentional, conscious, straightforward change. The whole relationship is going to change. The dynamic has to be different. And if it still looks like this, I don't want any part of it. So that'll take us to our present. This is what we're looking at in the immediate, right? As the change is occurring or is about to occur, what does that look like for us? And what is it going to bring? So that's a 2. That's our rainbow brain skull. Let's have a gander here. As I do often in my idle time, I've sort of like shuffled and reshuffled and washed these decks. We're getting a lot of cards. I'm okay. You're into, fuck it. It really wanted to. It's like, no, me too. And I'm like, fine. So we have 15, 48, 46, and 47. I swear to God, I shuffled the ever-loving shit out of these cards today. This is really interesting as well. Imagination and reality are scheduled to be inverted. Who cares? Right ends. Okay, this is actually very, like, one thing I like about Rainbow Brain Skull is that the explanations are very straightforward, right? There's not a lot of like, what's going on in here? Like it's pretty obvious a lot of the times what these cards are saying. And these, I think, paint a very clear picture. So let's get them down. This is the 15, 48, 46, and 47. So what we see here, this is one of my favorite cards, is, there's somebody out playing with rocks. And behind them is this circus, is this whole sort of like to do, but they are contented with sitting around, enjoying a simple pleasure. I think the explanation, which I'll read here in a second, is very much about like turning your back on the circus, right? Take a break from cheering and jeering at the circus. Haven't you noticed it's always been this way? No one's forcing you to participate. You can step outside and do something else. So you have this person who has turned their back on sort of like a certain set of expectations. Here, imagination and reality are scheduled to be inverted. I think is really interesting. Who cares if we become nothing? We're all once nothing. And then ride ends. Choose arm position. And you have the person who is happy and enjoying themselves and the person who is sad and despairing, and clearly pointing out the choice between like how people are choosing to sort of interact with the ride, aka life, existence, all sorts of different things. So looking at the present of this relationship, right, we're seeing a continuation of that sentiment of the Two of Swords, where we're breaking free of something that was constraining us, right? And we're starting to see reality in a different way, right? This shows to me that like there is a path that, that we were both on, me and this person I was in a relationship with, and it is now divergent, right? And so you've got the circus and turning your back, right? It's reality and imagination flipping upside down, a realization of, who cares if we become nothing, is this sort of sense of like frivolity, right? Of absurdity. Like life is purposeless or meaningless or whatever. Who gives a shit, right? What really matters is what we're doing with it. And so we're choosing to break out of a certain shell, right? This transformation is coming, I should say, because someone is choosing to break away from an expectation, break away from what they've been sort of like conditioned to feel or do or whatever. And they don't give a shit, right? They're making that choice. You or they are making that choice to put their hands up. And they might be looking at you, or you might be looking at them as the person with their hands down saying, what are you doing? Right? Like you can come along and enjoy this ride with me, but if you're not going to enjoy it, like, why are you here? What? Because like you're sad because life has no purpose or whatever, or because you're distracted by other things that are not as important, that don't really matter. Use your imagination, right? Break out of reality for a minute and stop being it what is and start imagining what could be, right? Start enjoying the potential of your existence rather than despairing at the present reality of it, because reality changes, everything changes. So here we're seeing in this relationship, this tumult, right? Between one person saying, I'm going to go down a path of positivity. I'm going to go down a path of independence. I'm going to go down a path where my imagination rules me and guides me. And the other person maybe just isn't that locked in on that. Maybe they're too distracted by the material, by the sort of like the concerns of capitalism and their job, or, expectations of who and what people are supposed to be. But really, we're nothing, right? We're whatever we want to be. We're whatever we choose to be. And so here in the present, we're seeing that tension, that conflict that's leading to the transformation. And if you're the person who's on the other side of this, if you're the person for whom you're here with your arms down, this is a wake-up call to sort of like let go a little bit. Let go of all of these expectations, all of this stuff. Like, look around. A lot of what we sort of thought was real isn't, right? A lot of the promises that were made to us as children have not come true, right? Have not been kept. A lot of the promises of consumerism and the circus and, all of the sort of hoopla of the modern world we've seen hasn't really lived up to the hype. So what are we going to do, right? Are we going to despair about that? Are we going to be, still go into work like, well, I still got to like make a living? Or are we going to change the way that we look at making a living? Are we going to change the way we look at living? And so in the present, this is that tension. This is the conflict that's driving, and underlying it is this need to feel uncaged, right? That we saw here. Is this need to feel unburdened by those expectations? Is the need to break away from the circus and just enjoy life in a different way? So that's going to take us to the future of this relationship. And I'll put this whole spread out there at the end so you can sort of see it all and make your own sort of interpretations. If you're seeing something differently than I'm seeing, say something in the comments. I'm always fascinated by other people's readings of my readings. My wife does this every time, where she's like, this is what I saw. And I'm like, yeah, give it to me. So this is going to be a 1. This is going to be our Steampunk Tarot. And now we're looking to the future of this relationship. We're going to look at sort of where does this lead us? Okay. This is quick. These cards want to come. And this is the Ace of Wands. So the future is the Ace of Wands. I have not seen this card before, so give me a second to look it up. The Ace of Wands exudes power, but also the complexity of the suit at its most positive. The metal of the hand and wand are strengthened and purified by fire, and thus made worthy. The surrounding candles echo the sacred light shining behind the hand. The energy, the will, is unadulterated and ready to be put to use. The wand itself is a magnificent and clearly magical creation. The base is an ornate representation of human creativity. The gears represent human action and desire for progress. The wand miraculously becomes a living thing, symbolizing the connection between an action and its spiritual roots. When the gift of the Ace of Wands graces your reading, realize it for the gift that it is, and prepare yourself to take energy and make the most of it. Like all the aces, it represents a fleeting moment in time. If you don't take it and feed it, it will burn out, leaving only the ashes of regret behind. The Ace of Wands is a supercharged boost of energy that you can apply however you like. If you do take it, be clear about your intent, as it is your will more than anything that determines the direction that events will take. Yes, you have much power at your fingertips at the moment, and with that comes much responsibility. So, Ace of Wands is saying, yeah, do it, man. Like, this is the right call. This is a yes. This is an enthusiastic yes. This is a fuck yes, right? Like, you're gonna break free of, this relationship. You're gonna break free of the constraints of the circus, of the everything, and you're gonna unleash your fucking will. And that's huge, right? That's what we want from springtime. That's what we want from this kind of transformation. That's what we want for ourselves, right? This is saying, yes, you're on the right path. If you're the person sort of breaking free, if you're the person who is making this step, then yes, do it. If you're on the other side of it, then this is maybe saying that you're on the wrong side. If you're on the side of the circus, if you're on the side of the arms down, right? If you're on the side of reality versus imagination, then you're on the wrong side of this. This is will, this is expression, this is passion, this is creativity, this is everything that a job isn't, right? This is everything that, keeping your arms down on the roller coaster isn't. This is everything that the sort of rat race isn't. So if you're on that side, it's time to change it. It's time to switch it up. And maybe this is where you look at your friend, right? Or the person that you're in this relationship with that is changing and say, I'm going to change with it, because you can make this choice. They're making this choice. You're allowed to make that choice too. You're allowed to follow them on this path. If there has been ebb and flow, and the problem is too much ebb and not enough flow, maybe it's time to wake up a little bit and say, I'm going with your flow now. I mean, fuck it, I'm in. You want to move to Madagascar and raise llamas? Fuck it, let's go to Madagascar, or whatever it is, right? Like, that's what this is saying, is that it's time to jump on board with this person and join them in this transformation. Again, if you're the one who is making this choice, this is your yes. This is your go for it. This is your be your truest self. This is turn your back on all of that stuff and embrace the thing that is leading you through this transformation. This is the most springtime card, right? This is the most spring cleaning transformation card. This is your future, is embracing that creativity, is embracing that passion, embracing that joy to vive, joy for life, right? And going for it and putting your elbows in it. So let's go now to our crux. This is going to be sort of like, I think, the defining element of this relationship, and whether maybe it's worth saving, whether the other person is maybe willing to go down this road with you, or what you need to do if things go sour, or to bring that person on board, right? Like, there's a lot of different options that I haven't even listed here. So let's see. And this is going to be our Tildwick again. So number 4. No Empyrean today, which is okay. Like, I think we've got enough passion and intensity so far without needing to pull the Empyrean in. Empyrean's like, no, you guys got this. So this is going to be our crux card, and this is going to give us some real insight that pulls everything together about how past, present, and future intersect, and what we can do to get the outcome maybe that we're looking for, get what we're trying to find. Excuse me. It's you. Hello. And this is going to be the 5 of staves. The 5 of staves. Let's have a gander. So what this is telling me, looking at reading the description for here and looking at this is conflict, right? There's tension in this relationship. There is conflict, and the case has to be made, right? The human case. I think that a lot of what is lost in communication, in relationships, is humanity. And I think what this is saying is, like, if you have, let's try to see if we can't get all of this on the screen at the same time. So there's this relationship, right? And it's got this tension. It's got this ebb and flow, and maybe things haven't really like been in balance. And so now we have, you know, a person who is making this decision, right? To, these are backwards, making this decision to change the nature of that relationship. Somebody who is saying, no, like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to pursue something different than what's expected of me. I'm going to push outside of the boundaries of reality. I'm going to move into imagination. I'm going to move from doldrums to joy. I'm going to move from the circus to something that is gratifying for me. And here is the Ace of Wands saying, yeah, fuck yeah, go and do that. Right. And I think the 5 of Wands here is saying, if you want that person to come along for the ride, you're going to have to like convince them. That's the crux, right? This relationship can be saved. You should do that thing you're going to do, right? You should commit to it. Look, this is the way that my life is going to look now. I'm confident. I know it. I feel it. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. This is the cage I'm going to break out of. And you can come along for the ride, right? Or you can be a no fun wet blanket and not. That's your call. I'm going to do me. But I want you here. I want you to come along for the ride. And here's why. And here's what you can do. And here's how you can do it. This is the human element of it, right? I want you here. I want this relationship was useful and helpful and good for me in the past. It could be in the present, but you got to come with. You got to be on board. On the flip side of this, right? If you're the person who is in the doldrums, if you're the wet blanket, this is saying, be a person, right? Like, wake up and think, like, what really matters to me? This human interaction, this human relationship, this meaningful connection between two creatures or something else, a job or something else, a location or something else, a different relationship, whatever it is, right? It's time for you to evaluate what is important to you. It's time for you to evaluate what really matters in life. If you're on the flip side of this transformation, of this change, it's time to now reflect and say, what do I want out of life? Convince yourself, maybe. This is the time for you to open your mind a little bit and convince yourself to do things a little bit differently, to see this person a little bit differently. And on the flip side, I encourage you, if you're the person making this change, see that person, see what motivates them, understand them as a person, meet them where they're at as a person, and bring them into this future with you. Bring them into this dramatic transformation with you. There's nothing wrong with that. This is my reading of this transformation of relationships, right? People are moving in different directions, and one is treading down the same old path, and another person is going in a different direction. Maybe a little more radical, maybe a little more dramatic, but that's the right call. That transition into the dramatic, into the radical, into the real, not like real material, but real existentially, right? The best version real. That's the path to go down. So if you're headed down that path, keep on. If you see someone in your life who's headed down that path and it's affecting your relationship, maybe it's time to reevaluate your path and whether going down the path that's been trod over and over again is right for you. And approach this tension, this conflict in your relationship with humanity, with the real connection that you have enjoyed with this person. Go back to that. Go back to the peopleness of it all, and not the material, not the stuff of the relationship, but the people stuff of the relationship, and see what really actually makes this relationship tick, and whether it's something that you want to continue with, or whether it's time to just let those paths diverge. So that's my reading. I hope, you got something from this. I hope something connected with you, sparked an idea in your head. If you have a different understanding or reading of this, please let me know. I'm Rain. This is Tarot for the Skeptical Mystic. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching, and we'll see you for the next one.